Browns minicamp in the books. The next time we see these 90 players will be at the Greenbrier Resort in West Virginia when they open up training camp on July 22nd. So I thought we could take a look at some winners and losers. I put the air quotes out there because you can't really be a big winner or loser coming out of a minicamp non-padded practice. But I think it's a good way to sort of recap the 3-day practice and get to know some of these players a little bit better that are new to the team and just spark notes, catch you up on everything you need to know coming out of OTAs and minicamp. So my first winner, it's the biggest storyline right now. Deshaun Watson looked pristine. He looked the best he has looked so far in Cleveland. For granted, 7-on-7s, non-padded practice. It's basically flag football. But you'd rather them look good than not look good, right? Now, he looked much sharper. He was very comfortable. That was something that was commonly used when describing Deshaun Watson, whereas last year there was a big legal cloud hanging over him, uncertainty of when he would play. This year he knows he has 17 games in front of him, and he's a lot more comfortable entering year 2 with Kevin Stefanski and AVP. A common phrase he used when speaking to the media one day after practice was, "Everything's new." Kevin Stefanski knows his back is against the wall. You don't get to get Deshaun Watson, $230 million guaranteed, and not have a great season and then go to ownership and say, but can I get one more chance, Jimmy? No, Kevin, you can't. So everything's new. Stefanski had a big homework assignment this offseason, and he's been creative, from putting Elijah Moore in the backfield to getting Deshaun Watson to the best of his abilities. Now, a lot of teammates praised number 4, including his tight end, David Njoku, who had this to say. He's locked in. The energy is there. So far, I think every single ball he's thrown was precise on the money. So it excites me as well as the rest of the team, the offense. We're all excited. He looks really good. He's been very accurate the past 2 days, very impressive. Now, the next minute or so of the show is going to be some Watson receipts times because I am here to remind everyone there is a long list of people who were quick to clown and be down on the Browns last year when, admittedly, things did not go well for Deshaun Watson in those 6 games. He had some good plays. He had some good quarters. But I think we can all agree objectively it probably did not meet the expectations a lot of us had going into those final 6 weeks. Let's start off with Dov. I like Dov as an aggregator. Opinion Dov kind of sucks, no matter what his opinion is. Denver made the worst trade. This is back in December. Made the worst trade in NFL history when they traded for Wilson. The Browns trade for Deshaun Watson doesn't appear to be much better. Cleveland gave up 3 first-round picks and more to get Watson, plus a $230 million fully guaranteed contract. Backup Jacoby Brissett has outplayed him. Now, if you want to say Watson did not look good during those 6 games, you're not going to get, a big reaction out of me. I mostly agree. He had some great throws. A lot of people who were, pointing down on the Browns, we're not actually watching games. We're not seeing the 3 touchdowns dropped by his receivers in the Saints game, but that's neither here nor there. He's paid a lot of money. He probably should have played a little bit better, but whatever. The receipts continue, though. Greg Rosenthal, back in January. The Browns gave Watson the most guaranteed money in history, and he's been worse than Jarrett Stidham and Josh Dobbs. How about Roger Sherman? The Browns adding Deshaun Watson would have been indefensible even if he was the best quarterback in the NFL. Instead, out of 41 QBs with 100 attempts, he's 40th in yards per attempt and 41st in passer rating, 39th in touchdown attempt ratio, and 39th in touchdown interception ratio. So I am sure Roger is just giving numbers just to give numbers. He's not trying to push a narrative or anything. He's not trying to look down on the Browns for making this deal and thinks Deshaun Watson's going to turn his career around. No, none of that's going on. He just wants to share numbers and facts. Jason LaConfora tweeted out, Deshaun Watson is stealing money, man. He ain't it. Shameful trade / signing producing shameful results. Keep throwing it to your tackle. Yeah, that was a bonehead decision to throw to Jack Conklin. But the point remains, we all know the big J's out there with the blue check marks who were quick to jump on the Browns suck train when Deshaun Watson did not get off to a good start this past season. I'll be curious to see if they have the same tone in 2023 when Deshaun Watson does indeed return to that Pro Bowl status. So predict it for me. Deshaun Watson will finish as a top blank quarterback in 2023. This is probably, I think this is, as sports fans, and I'm guilty of it, don't get me wrong, after draft grades and maybe just draft grades, this is probably one of the dumbest things we do as sports fans, tier quarterbacks into like odd numbers, top 5, top 8, top 10. I think when 2023 is all said and done, these are going to be your top 10 quarterbacks. This is not as of right now, but after the 2023 season, Mahomes, Burrow, and Allen are still going to be top 3. Herbert's 4. I'm going to put Watson at 5. I think he is going to be on a revenge tour, and he's going to prove a lot of people wrong. Don't sleep on Trevor Lawrence. He was the best player coming out of high school, coming out of college, and the Jags are going to surprise people. Rodgers at 7. I actually think that's too high, but I couldn't find... I'm not putting Kirk Cousins higher, so that's that. Jalen Hurts at 8. I don't even like Dak at 9, but there's no good quarterbacks really in the NFC. And then I think Justin Fields is going to be on an awesome rampage this year with DJ Moore at quarterback and year 3 for JF1. So I think at the end of 2023, these are going to be your top 10 quarterbacks. Moving on to our first loser. I'm going to go with the Cincinnati Bengals. Why the Bengals? Why would the Bengals be losers at Browns minicamps? I'll tell you why. They're going to get obliterated week 1 against the Browns. They are going to get their shit pushed in, and I, for one, can't wait to see it. Robert Griffin, I could have included him in one of the receipts, was very quick to point out how before Deshaun Watson came, the Browns had a great record against the Bengals with Kevin Stefanski, but we know how that one game in Cincinnati went. But yeah, the Bengals, week 1, they are in for a long game. They are in for one of the best offenses in football and a defense that last year we gave them their roses way too early and they did not live up to expectations. But this year, Andrew Berry did everything he really could this offseason to turn it around. Dalvin Tomlinson, Za'Darius Smith, Juan Thornhill, Obo Okoronkwo, and maybe best of all, this guy named Jim Schwartz, a Super Bowl winning defensive coordinator. Good luck, Joe. So with that, we're on to Cincinnati, and if you are ready to start the season off 1-0, let's sub for dubs. I know this is way down the line, but I don't think it's too early to start subbing for dubs, as Jeremy Beadling from Steelers Talk just opened the door to moon me. This is the work environment I have to deal with here between Jack Sperry and Jeremy Beadling from Steelers Talk, mooning me, open the door, all that stuff. So if you hate Pittsburgh, sub below, because this is the channel for you. Moving on to our second winner, the wide receivers. They all looked great. I can't pick one. I really can't. I'll be excluding someone, and my dad always had a rule growing up. You don't exclude people from your birthdays. And right now, they're all sharing a birthday. Because when you look at the wide receiver room, Amari Cooper's coming back after getting off-season surgery, and he looks like the way he did to start last season. DPJ knows it's a contract year, and sure, it's only June, but he is playing like a man who's going to make some money this offseason. Elijah Moore has been more than advertised, no pun intended. Marquise Goodwin's going to stretch the field. And oh yeah, Cedric Tillman as a rookie is already looking like a vet. So Cooper last year got off to a blazing hot start. Remember the first 12 weeks of the season, 792 yards and 7 touchdowns in an offense that ran the football, top 3 in the NFL. Pretty good numbers for a player that wasn't getting a high volume of targets as far as, pass-happy offenses go. But then in week 12, he starts to sustain an injury. He ended up getting surgery on it, and his overlap with Deshaun Watson had a game where he went off for 2 touchdowns. I think it was the Commanders game. But outside of that, you could really tell he was not even playing like 75%. He was kind of going through the motions at one point. Cooper's not the only player that looked good during minicamp, though. Donovan Peoples-Jones, everyone raved about him. Every single beat reporter in Cleveland talked about DPJ looking fantastic, right? He had a great minicamp. He was hauling in touchdowns time after time after time. And here you can see Elijah Moore with one of the best highlights coming out of it, a one-handed grab. Let's look at this picture here, Trace. The other one's too stretched out. But Elijah Moore just reaching for that one-handed grab against a defense that, granted, had no pass rush, but still, you'd rather see them catch these awesome passes than not, right? So for that reason, this wide receiver room is flying under the radar. And when Amari Cooper and Deshaun Watson are healthy together, this is going to be one incredible duo. I believe there are 2,000-yard receivers on this team. The question is Cooper and who? And whoever is the loser, probably going to have somewhere between 600 to 800 yards. Like, they are going to be a productive player. So look out for this wide receiver room. Everyone talks, and for good reason, about Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Tyler Boyd. There's something brewing up in Northeast Ohio with Amari Cooper, DPJ, and Elijah Moore. Before we get on to the rest of our winners and losers, I actually ordered my t-shirt combo yesterday. Get yours right now. It's on sale, so don't wait too long because we know these sales come and go. Chatsports.com/CLE combo. Links in the comments and the description of today's video. You don't just get one shirt, get two shirts on sale, a short sleeve and a long sleeve Browns t-shirt. Do your future self a favor and get two brown shirts today while the deal lasts. My second loser, it's not really a loser because he wasn't even there, but it's DeAndre Hopkins, right? For those of you that we know who you are, determined to get D-Hop to the Browns, and it's not a bad, reasoning or, desire to have. I would say minicamp did not go the way you would hope to have gone in order to increase the probability of Hopkins coming to Cleveland. Andrew Berry probably shouldn't make big altering decisions for this upcoming season based on how 7-on-7s go, but the wide receivers showed up, right? They read the headlines. They listened to all the podcasts and videos about D-Hop reuniting with Deshaun Watson. I mean, they don't even listen to the show. Deshaun Watson himself publicly talked about how he'd love to have DeAndre Hopkins. And I think they kind of took it a bit personal because they showed up and they were the stars of the show. Donovan Peoples-Jones continues to get better and better season after season. From his rookie year to being an 839-yard receiver last year in a run-heavy offense when he was not even the first look through the air. Imagine what he's going to do in an offense that's going to pass it way more than they did last year. The targets are going to go up. He's likely going to be on track to be a 1,000-yard receiver if Elijah Moore or Cedric Tillman doesn't steal more of the spotlight. And speaking of Elijah Moore, I mean, if he didn't have Zach Wilson as his quarterback and Joe Flacco the last 2 years, that 538-yard rookie season in only 11 games and 5 touchdowns, the ceiling is very high for Elijah Moore this year. I mean, I know I'm very loosely tossing around 1,000-yard receiver, but I don't think it's a big stretch for Elijah Moore to put up 1,050 yards and 6 or 7 touchdowns this year, given what he has shown us so far in the speed ability and the creativity for Kevin Stefanski's offense, and Cleveland going to throw the football a lot more. So with that being said, DeAndre Hopkins is a loser only because Donovan Peoples-Jones and Elijah Moore reminded Andrew Berry why he either traded for one of them or why there's a lot of optimism for the other one to have a breakout season this year if DPJ hasn't already broken out. So with all that being said, has your stance on adding DeAndre Hopkins changed? Are you a lot more confident in this wide receiver room based on only 7-on-7? So it's not the best accurate representation of what that's going to, reflect when week 1 in September rolls around. But are you a lot more comfortable with the current wide receiver makeup, or do you still want DeAndre Hopkins, right? Like, you have not changed your mind at all. You are the same as you were before. Let me know either way down in the comments section. Fifth and final winner/loser, Jim Schwartz. He's a big winner. I mean, talk about a coach who takes over a defense that last year was one of the worst defenses on paper just by a numbers standpoint, but the roster wasn't bad. Like, Jim Schwartz didn't have to come in here and gut this roster. They needed to tweak the defensive line a little bit, and now it's going to be, in my opinion, one of the most underrated defenses in football. This is the rumor depth chart, or at least a potential lineup, probably for more obvious passing situations. But you get Myles Garrett, Za'Darius Smith, Dalvin Tomlinson, and Okoronkwo, the 4 best defensive linemen on the field at the same time. This is going to be a nightmare for opposing offensive line coaches. Early downs, when it's 1st and 10, and you think they might be running it, get Dalvin Tomlinson and whoever the next 2 months or so emerges as the best next run-stopping DT, whether that's the rookie Ika, whether that's Jordan Elliott, whether that's Tristan Hill or Maurice Hurst, I don't care. Whoever rises up and looks like the next best run-stopping DT, get them on the field with Za'Darius Smith and Myles Garrett, or rotate Smith and Okoronkwo, and get 2 true run-stopping DTs out there for first and second down. And when it's third down and it's 3rd and 8 and you know they're going to pass it, take off Tristan Hill, take off Ika, add on Okoronkwo, kick Za'Darius Smith on the inside, get 3 defensive ends on the field at the same time, and Jim Schwartz is going to let them turn loose, pin their ears back, and feast on the quarterback. So do you guys think the Browns are going to have 2 10-plus sack players? Someone asked me that during our mailbag from the live show we had on Thursday, and it was a very good question because it's happened before. Pretty sure the Eagles had probably 3 10-plus sack guys last season, but there's not as many double-digit sack players every single NFL season as we might think there are. I think most fans assume that, at least, there's one on majority of teams, like 25 teams or so. No, there's only 12 10-plus sack players last season, so to have 2 would be owning a good market share. So let me know what your thoughts are down below. If it's Za'Darius Smith and Myles Garrett or Garrett and Okoronkwo, can Cleveland get 2 double-digit sack players? Before we get on out of here and let you enjoy the rest of your day, off-season mode. It's a Friday right now as we film this. I got producer Trace to come in and knock out this video because I really wanted to get some winners and losers out there. So, Trace, your first time picking. Do you want to give us your random card prediction?
Yeah, I'm going to take the 7 of hearts. I'm feeling lucky today.
7 of hearts.
Feeling lucky.
7 of hearts. Pencil me down for a nice 5 of clubs. 5 of clubs.
Love it.
One last cut for good measure. Here it is. What'd you say?
7 of hearts.
7 of spades.
Damn it! Oh,
that's
so
a
close
tough
to taking
one.
the spades.
7 of spades. Okay.
Damn it!
That's it for today's show. Enjoy the rest of your day. We will catch up later.